Hanji bete, good morning. I'm Murthy, your history teacher, going to teach you theme 2, subject history. And the name of the theme kings, farmers, and towns. In this chapter, we are going to get knowledge about the past king as well as farmers and towns. Means time period is from 600 BCE to 600 CE. And in this chapter, we will read today the topic the earliest states. Means we will get the knowledge about the states which were the earliest states. So let me explain. Yes, Vete, you have seen the 6th century BCE. Means we are talking about 600 BCE is often regarded as a major turning point in earlier Indian history. Why it was referred as a major turning point in earlier Indian history? It has reasons. Which reasons are there? We will read about them. Because it is an era associated with early states, cities, and the growing use of iron. Means yesterday I told you that in this era, people discovered iron metal and started to use it by making tools as well as weapons which are used in agriculture purpose. That's why they got plenty of food products or crops, and with these crops their economy became strong. When they had strong economy, definitely their life was comfortable. That's why this era is referred as turning point in early Indian history. The development of coinage means they started to learn the technique to make coins from different metals like gold, copper, aluminium. These days we are making coinage with the help of aluminium. ESPT. It also witnessed means seen. It also witnessed the growth of diverse systems of thought, including Buddhism and Jainism. Both religions were flourished in this era. Which one? Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism were a very simple religions without any formalities, without any rituals. They were not complicated in nature like Hinduism. They were very simple and they provide people moral values to lead happy life, to lead smooth life. They have simple teachings in people's language rather than Sanskrit. Sanskrit, is a very difficult language. It is not understood by common people. But the Buddhism and Jainism, both religions taught their teachings to the people in their own language, in the ordinary language, in the language of people. That was Pali, which was Prakritic, that was very simple to understand. Means these languages were the languages of common people. So, bete, early Buddhism and Jaina texts. We have written records. Means we have Bodhi books, we have Jaini books. Means Buddhist and Jaina texts mention amongst other things 16 states known as Mahajanpad. By reading these texts, we come to know about the life of the people, about the political life of the people, that time of the people, as well as economy of the people, occupation of the people. Means we have a lot of knowledge regarding the past due to these texts. These mean Bodhi text as well as Jaini text. Means we have large number of books written by Jaini as well as Bodhi saga people. So by reading these books, we came to know about the life of the people who lived in this era. And if we are talking about political life of that time, which kingdoms were flourished and got growth, advanced, their administration system, all things we come to know with the help of these books. And through these books, we come to know about 16 powerful Mahajanpads. Mahajanpad means kingdoms. 16 जो राज हुए हैं उस समय के बहुत पावरफुल राज हुए हैं उनके बारे में हमें पूरी पूरी जानकारी मिलती है. Although the lists vary, no doubt the names or lists of these Mahajanpads are different from one book to another. But some are common which are found in each book. Let me explain which one they. As Bijay, Magda, Kaushal, Koru, Panchal, Gandhara, and Avanti occur frequently. These names occurred again and again, come again and again in each and every book. So clearly, these were amongst the most important Mahajanpads, or you can say powerful Mahajanpads, powerful kingdoms, prosperous kingdoms, advanced, developed kingdoms. That's why their names are mentioned again and again in each and every book which was written during this era. So while most Mahajanpads were ruled by kings, definitely these kingdoms were ruled by kings because that time king monarchy government was given preference. That time there was no democracy. Means two states have democracy, but rest of them mostly they have monarchical government. They were ruled by king. Some known as Ghans and Sang. Some are called Ghans and Sang or Sang were oligarchies where were where power was shared by a number of men. I have already told you it is a oligarchic is another form of democracy where power is shared among many gens among a group of a number of men often collectively called rajas in their group of rajas. Both Mahavir belongs to Buddhism and Mahavir belongs to Jainism and Gautam Buddha belongs to Buddhism. Clear? Keep in mind, Mahavir is the founder of Jainism religion and the Gautam Buddha is the founder of Buddhism in India. They belong to Ghans. Means they are from royal family. They were princes. In some examples, as in the case of the Bijay Sangh, if we are talking about Bijay Sangh, the Rajas probably controlled resources such as land collectively. Means the group of people who were playing the role of Rajas, they have control over all the natural resources. Example like land. Land was under the hands of king or Raja. Although their histories are often difficult to reconstruct due to the lack of sources, some of these states lasted for nearly 1,000 years. Means they ruled up to 1,000 years. You will ask about the age. No, I'm not talking about the age. Means their ruling tenure. वो उनके मनारची में ऐसा ही होता है ना कि राजा के बाद उसका पुत्र राजा बन जाता है। मीन ये जो राज थे, मेरे कहने का अर्थ है 1000 साल तक सरवाइव किए और इनके ऊपर राजाओं ने राज किया। यस बेटे। ईच महाजनपद हैड अ कैपिटल सिटी। It is clear, whenever we have monarchy, whenever we are talking about political system, definitely each kingdom has its capital. Like in India, India is a country and it has a capital, that is Delhi. Same as with Pakistan. Pakistan is a country and it has its own capital, that is Islamabad. Sri Lanka is a country, it has its capital, that is known as Colombo. Same, I mean, we have every country, every kingdom has its a capital, and same was that time. Every Mahajanpad, every kingdom has its a capital, which was often fortified. And capital, it is a place where political powers are surviving, or you can say where rulers are living in their palace, in their forts, and these capital cities are fortified. जैसे this is the capital, this is Delhi, and it is fortified with huge walls like this way. Why? For security purpose. And here there is a gate. Whenever outsider want to come into the capital, he has to enter through this main gate by giving his biodata identification. Means it is done for security purpose. I think this is clear. Maintaining these fortified cities as well as providing for incipient armies and bureaucracies required resources. Means armies also living in this palace. Bureaucracy, those bureaucracy means a group of employers who are working, employees who are working for their employer, जो अपने राजा के लिए काम करते हैं लोग, उसको ब्यूरोक्रेसी कहते हैं। ब्यूरोक्रेसी काम करने के लिए राजा के पास होते, वो भी यहीं रहते थे, उनको रिसोर्सेस की जरूरत होती थी। फ्रॉम 6th century onwards, Brahmins began composing Sanskrit texts known as Dharm Shastras. Before teaching or taking you to another page, I want to tell you about Janpads also. What are Janpads? Janpad means the land where a Jan, a people, a clan or tribe sets its foot or settles. Means where a Jan. Jan means a group, a clan or tribe people started to live. It is a word used in both Prakritic and Sanskrit language. Means Janpad is a word that is of Sanskrit as well as Prakritic. It means a group of people who are living on land anywhere, that is termed as Janpad. Mahajanpads are big ones and Janpads are small ones. Keep in mind. Mahajanpads kingdoms are big ones and Janpads are small in size. So we will move towards another page, that is 30, page number 30. Here I will show you the 16 Mahajanpads on Indian map. Before showing map, I want to explain the rest of the topic. Yes, bete. Means Brahmins started to write in Sanskrit language, and Sanskrit language is a difficult language. It is not a language of common people. I mean, it is not spoken by common people that time. Even these days, we are speaking our own language, that is a Punjabi original language, which is the language of people, rather than giving importance to Sanskrit language. But at that time, the Brahmins started to write books in Sanskrit language, and these books are known as Dharam Shastra. What these are called? They are called Dharam Shastra, which are shown in screen. These lay down norms for rulers. Means what is the meaning of Dharam Shastras? Dharam Shastra means rules and regulations are mentioned in these books which guide the king. Means these are the norms for rulers. as well as for other social categories. Means rules and regulations are mentioned in these books, which are known as Dharm Shastra for everyone. Maybe it is a ruler, maybe it is a public. So, who were ideally expected to be Kshatriya. Rulers are considered as Kshatriya, means those people who are warriors, who are brave, who have a strong muscle, means they have the ability to fight war. They have the ability to protect himself and his public. They are termed as Kshatri. जो मोटे तगड़े चुस्त लोग बहादुर लोग होते थे उनको क्षत्रिय कहा जाता था मीन वो अपनी भी सुरक्षा करते थे और समाज की भी and Brahmins who are expert in reading writing they write books and they are teacher as well as doctors they read books Rigvedas and treat sick people advise the king in religious matters as well as in social matters. These are the categories on the base of occupation. But in later Vedic period, these divisions on the base of occupation became rigged, and they became as caste system, which was very complicated, which was removed in India during independence in 1947. Whenever we have written our own constitution, under constitution, casteism was removed from Indian society. Means equality is provided to everyone. Maybe he is a Kshatri, Brahman, Shudra, Vash, whatever he is. So, bete, rulers were advised to collect tax. What's the work of rulers? They collect tax from the peoples and tribute from cultivators, from farmers, from traders and artisans. And in return, they provide security to the people. These people were resources also procured from pastoralists and forest people. This is the question. It is not clear to us. Means were resources or taxes taken from those people who have cattle, or you can say who are rearing cattle, or those people who are living in forests. We don't know really. हमें इसके बारे में पूरी नॉलेज नहीं है. What we do know is that raids on neighboring states were recognized as a legitimate means of acquiring wealth. Even this is going on these days also. Every country tries to dominate other country to gain wealth, to obtain profit. That time also this scenario was going on. The powerful king attacked on weak kings to take tax or to obtain wealth. आपने वो फिल्म देखी होगी बाहुबली. वो महेशवती कितनी बड़ी पावरफुल किंगडम थी और उसने छोटे छोटे जो राजे थे उनके ऊपर कंट्रोल कर रखा था अपना टैक्स लेने के लिए. इसीलिए तो जो महेंद्र बाहुबली जाता है देवसेना के राज में वो टैक्स लेने के लिए तो जाता है. देवसेना को फिर बंदी बना के लेके आने का हुक्म मिलता है उसको. आपने अच्छे से देखी होगी आपको क्लियर होगा. मीन दैट इज वेरी गुड मूवी टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस चैप्टर. आपको जरूर देखनी चाहिए अगर नहीं देखी. यस बेटे. Gradually, some states acquired standing armies. Day by day, some states became strong. How they became strong? With wealth, with social power, they made standing armies. Mean they increased the size of their armies. Large number of men were recruited in armies to fight war and to obtain wealth and maintained regular bureaucracies. Mean they have a large number of bureaucrats who are working for kings. Others continue to depend on militia. Militia as a term. It means militia is army of volunteers of men and women. Whenever there is attack, whenever there is a problem, then people come together to help a king to fight war for defense. ये एग्जाम्पल देवसेना की आपने देखी होगी, वहां लोग मिलकर अपने बचाव के लिए बाहुबली के साथ मिलकर लड़ते हैं। वो मिलिटिया होता है बेटे, जो नॉट प्रोफेशनली, इट्स अ वॉलंटरली, मन मर्जी से एक सेवा के रूप में की जाती है। रिक्रूटेड more often than not from the peasantry, means this military is made by peasants, farmers. So I think this is clear. And I was talking about oligarchy, democracy का another name है oligarchy. It refers to a form of government where power is exercised by a group of men. The Roman Republic, means रोम में हमें पता ही है डायरेक्ट डेमोक्रेसी थी, मीन उस समय सभी लोग मिलकर डिसीजन लेते थे। द रोमन रिपब्लिक अबाउट विच यू रेड लास्ट ईयर वाज एन oligarchic in spite of its name. And this is a map work. Indian map work. Indian map here. What you are seeing? Early states and their capital. Means all the 16 states are mentioned here with their capital name. Like if we look at the Mala, and Mala has capital Kushinagar. Then we have Vijay, its capital is Vishali. Then we have Magda, its capital is Rajgarh. Anga, its capital is Champa. Then we have Avanti. There we have Avanti, and its capital is Ujjain. Then we have Mastha, as well as Shuransa, its capital is Mathura. Kuru, here is Kuru, and its capital is Panchal. Sorry, Kuru's capital is Achinchara. Then we have Panchal, its capital is Shrasti. Kaushal, Kushi, their capitals are mentioned Kushibhamba and Varanasi. Basta, Gandhara, Gandhara's capital is Texla. So Kamboj, their capital is Pushka Lavi. These are the kingdoms as well as their capitals. So you have to fill these 16 Mahajanpads in your map, and map must be preserved or pasted in your notebook, fair notebook. And these questions you have to write in your fair notebook. Which were the areas where states and cities were most densely clustered? Means you will read this map and answer the question accordingly. So I think this is clear. Thank you.